right now I'm being told that we need to use our platform as Morehouse men. Why are we using it to support someone who hasn't been supporting Palestine and Gaza and things like that? How are we being global cosmopolitan citizens? What precedent does that set for freshmen?
There's a possibility of a genocide happening. And we're seeing our government continually sending more and more weapons, 2,000-pound bombs that are being dropped on whole neighborhoods, schools being destroyed, hospitals being destroyed.
You condemn what's happening, man. Children is dying, innocent people being blown up, and you can see the videos and you can't deny the videos. And we don't condemn that. You say, well, the world might not see it as, oh, we complicit. You know, we see it as we complicit. We the students telling you, we see it as that's being complicit. Do y'all see that as complicit?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's complicit. That's complicit in genocide. Do you think it's a genocide or not? Let me just ask the question everybody wants to know. Do you think it's a genocide or do you not think it's a genocide what's happening in Gaza? Simple yes or no. That's all I want. Yes or no. Is it a genocide or not? Of your personal, professional opinion, as an educator, as a man in this country, what do you think? Are the people of Gaza being genocided or are they not?
I'm not going to answer that question.
The president said he's not going to answer that question. Now, in all due respect, the president of Morehouse is a remarkable person. I was there a couple of months ago lecturing to the students on campus. It is a remarkable campus. They are encouraged to speak their mind. They are encouraged to be, well, moral and ethical and provide that kind of leadership in all they do. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. Put up the picture full mass. Let me give you the twists and turns of the now. I had the great fortune of being able to speak to a Morehouse student exclusively. I will play that in just a moment. After some backlash to last week's announcement that President Joe Biden will, in fact, still deliver the commencement speech at Morehouse College, officials from within the president's orbit tell theGrio that the president hears those concerns loud and clear and may even address them in his upcoming speech later this month. Quote, what he has been doing and will continue to do leading up to the speech is listening very closely to all the concerns raised and making sure that he addresses them either in the speech or separate and apart from that, said Stephen Benjamin, senior advisor to President Biden and director of the White House Office of Public Engagement. He added, quote, the war is obviously a significant issue of discussion all around the country, probably most vividly on college campuses right now. So since Morehouse President David A. Thomas announced President Biden as the keynote speaker for the all-male college's 140th commencement on May 19th, a number of students, faculty, and alumni expressed opposition as a result of the Biden administration's policy to support Israel's military operation in Gaza against Hamas, a U.S. designated terrorist group, resulting in the deaths of more than 34,000 Palestinians. That's what the war has created. Israeli government is responsible. Outraged over the war and Biden's role in it were expressed in a campus town hall between Morehouse students and the president. So President Thomas did take those direct hits intentionally, as well as a letter circulated amongst Morehouse alumni. They called the invitation of the president a moral disaster and an embarrassment to the college. I spoke with a student at Morehouse about the matter on my radio show. Here's some of it here.
We have Bobbitt on the line, Morehouse student. Bobby, good day, welcome.
Good morning. Yes, I know that there's been a lot of conversation about President Biden coming to speak at commencement. And with President Thomas being the current president at Morehouse, I first want to thank him because a few years ago when he was first becoming the president, he brought on Robert F. Smith. I was able to get my student loans paid for, and I was grateful for that. And I'm grateful that my institution has the ability to have access and influence with the highest office in the land. However, I do believe that this is a very pivotal pivotal moment for President Thomas, because after graduation, President Biden, he's going to leave campus. He'll still be president. President Thomas, however, he will have to return to Morehouse. And we see with Emory how they just put in a vote of no confidence for their president.
That's correct.
And that young people, they have the ability to have that same kind of power. So I think as a leader, you need to listen to the people that you are serving, because they're the ones that have you in that position.
And the student had more to say. Here it is.
Great leaders, they are able to be transparent with their successes as well as with their mistakes. And I know that even though, yes, before we knew the whole Israel-Hamas war was happening, we already had the commencement lined up. It's not too late to be able to turn and pivot and say, hey, we made a mistake. And that transparency, I believe that a lot of people will enjoy, especially with the amount of disdain with the decision. I mean, if President Biden is going to be coming there and saying, hey, you know, we're going to be giving the same amount of resources that we did to Israel to HBCUs, or we're going to be giving the same amount of money that we gave to Ukraine to HBCUs, or we're going to be coming here and we're going to make an announcement that how Robert F. Smith came and paid off all the student loans. He's saying, hey, we're going to come here and we're going to be pushing complete reparations. Otherwise, you're going to see a lot of commotion that isn't necessarily the best publicity that Morehouse needs. Granted, we have the ability to be able to pivot and move, and we still have a lot of great young men on campus. But I do think that it is pivotal because his leadership would be called in question. And I think with humility, being able to seek correction without malice attitude, you can listen to the people that you're serving. You can pivot and you can become better from that. I just hope that, it's peaceful, it's awesome, and that he makes the best decision.
Once again, full transparency, I am a professor on the AU campus. I'm very proud of the Morehouse students. I stand with them. And I believe that the president has, some explaining to do. And it would not be a mistake if he disinvited Biden. It's not even an admission to a mistake, because when it was booked, this policy was not in place. This policy is a game changer. And the students who are standing up, they're standing up because they believe that their willingness to volunteer themselves and not launch some type of protest would be complicit to the policy that's leading to the death of women and children, in particular in Gaza, that are Palestinians. Cedric Richmond, who is the national co-chair of the Biden-Harris campaign and a Morehouse alumnus himself, told theGrio that he was proud of the Morehouse student body for being engaged and caring about human life. The president is also concerned about civilian casualties. And can we just stop calling it casualties? I mean, literally, they're just targeting civilians, okay? Let's be very clear about what's happening. He said that the administration cares about civilian casualties, Palestinian people, and their safety. At Richmond, who noted that the president has criticized Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's handling of the ground operation in Gaza and committed significant resources to Palestinians in Gaza. All right, so some alumni see the president's visit as a direct conflict with the legacy of Morehouse most illuminating alumnus, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So Dr. King was famous not only for his leadership in the civil rights movement, but for risking his reputation and relationships to speak up against the Vietnam War near the end of his life, said Edward Mitchell, a Morehouse graduate and National Deputy Director of CARE. That legacy of speaking out against an unjust war is what college kids around the country are living out right now, end quote. Mitchell, who signed the aforementioned letter circulated amongst Morehouse alumni, said that while he understands why the college would normally welcome the president of the United States to deliver a commencement speech, the timing is terrible. When I was at Morehouse, there's no way they would have invited George W. Bush to speak in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina or at the height of the Iraq War, he explained. So why is it acceptable? And I would say this, Morehouse would have never invited Trump under any circumstance at any point of the presidency to come and speak at Morehouse, period. It doesn't matter that he's the president at that time. There's more. Mitchell said the Biden administration is, quote, living in an alternate reality if they think they can speak at Morehouse and not face serious blowback from young black men who overwhelmingly oppose the ongoing genocide in Gaza. He said, until Biden stops enabling an unjust genocidal war, Morehouse is not the place for him to be, adding his presence is really distracting from what should be a celebration focused on students and their parents without the specter of protest or disruptions. Though it's unclear whether students or graduates themselves will protest the president's visit when he comes to the campus, Mitchell told theGrio students should decide on their own way how they want to respond to this and what they feel is appropriate. You know, I have a lot of Morehouse students that I mentor. Very proud of them. I stand with them. There is absolutely no light in between me and a Morehouse student at all. So to the administration, you understand the risk here, right? You understand what you're risking. Number one, you're risking one of the worst photo ops you can imagine. What if Morehouse students decided to just stand up, turn their back on Biden like they feel that Biden has turned his back on them? Remember when Biden got elected, he said the black people had his back and I got yours. I'm just saying, what if? Because if the students of Morehouse stood up, turned their back on Biden, technically that's within the rules. They're not disrupting the commencement. And really, even if they did disrupt the commencement, what are you going to do? You're going to withhold their transcripts? Can't do that. You go to court quickly. ACLU will be all over that. Not give them their diploma, please. Tell them that the commencement is over. Hell, they don't want to be there anyway with Biden. So what are you going to do if they do that? See, at a point, administration, you're bringing this upon yourself. And you're putting these students in an impossible situation because this should be about them and not about Biden using Morehouse College as a pawn. I guarantee you these students won't allow it. All right? All right, Jackson, thoughts?
I think this demonstrates how big and how real of an issue the situation in Gaza truly is for Biden's administration, given the fact that he's really struggling the heaviest with this voting age group and also with the independent group. This is really a lot of what they're going to be looking at. And so not only this, but for Joe Biden, recently over this week, coming out condemning student protesters, saying that they, don't have a right to cause chaos, and people within his administration or people within kind of that liberal sphere, comparing them to January 6th, as you saw that on MSNBC. That's really going to continue to hurt his campaign if he doesn't get something together about that. Then on the other side, you got Donald Trump, who will seemingly be in the lead, but then he'll come out and say stuff like, well, actually, the reversal of Roe v. Wade made everything much more simple. That's what the people wanted. Or come out and say, we're going to deport 15 million people. We're going to get them all out of here, calling for war with Iran and stuff like that. So both the Biden and the Trump campaigns are in a position where they're still racing to the bottom for issues that either they don't need to say or things that they could just address. And Biden continues to not address this issue, and he's suffering for it greatly.
Yeah. So are many others suffering because of the policy.